through my rides, I keep going back to this riding the motorcycle thing, but that's how I've met a lot of these people, is just on my rides, just pull over and knock on the front door, and like I said, get bit by the animal, the dog, which I got bit today, believe it or not. When I drove in here, I got bit right on my leg, so that's okay. These guys have been struggling. I told you earlier, when I started riding around the countryside, there was a lot of fields that were empty, and I'd find some of the old guys, beautiful barns like this, or dairy farms that were just empty. You walk inside and there's a ghost town inside. There's, cobwebs everywhere. It's like, wow. So you knew it sometime in the past there was beautiful milk or whatever coming out of that. Meeting these old guys, they were really crusty and kind of bitter about losing the farm, quote unquote. And from that, I promised a few of them that I'd make sure that before they died, I would put some animals on their pasture.
I believe, and one of my reasons for starting something like this, is that the people that are in Seattle or in the bigger cities, Portland or wherever it might be, they're wanting this type of product to put on their plate. They want to know where their stuff comes from. They want to know how it was killed and when it was killed, and from start to finish, where it was raised, what it ate, the whole 9 yards. And to have something like that where it's local, and they can actually come out and watch it, and a lot of people like that. Some people don't. Some people want to come out and watch it.
They're not going to a butcher shop that has brought in a box of beef and is displaying it. Whether it, you can buy, any butcher shop can buy what I call box beef, but it can be grass-fed. It just comes from Idaho, or if you go into a shop like Williams or show up here at the farm, that steak is my steak. It's my cow. It's not, how many times it passed away. So if you think about going to like Williams' shop and he has my meat on hand, look at how many people have been in that chain to get him the steak. Me, the cut wrap facility, and William. That's 3 people. That's pretty incredible. That's how many hands that piece of steak has changed, and the 4th person is the one that's going to purchase it to take home to eat.
It depends on the meat, but most of the goat you buy in the grocery store is imported, and who knows what it is, or what it's been like, or where it's been at. I have no idea. Yeah, and here what you see is what you get. You can see that this is the way they live. They enjoyed it. They have a good life.
And that's important to our customers because it's a different quality of meat, I believe, and a lot of people do feel that way, that when an animal is under stress, their bodies are producing all sorts of hormones and things that go into the meat by the time that it's slaughtered. And so this way they're getting the absolute best quality meat that they possibly can. We take a holistic approach to the way that we raise them, and in terms of our management practices, very few inputs, very few outputs. So we compost everything that's left over. It stays here on the farm and then goes back into the land eventually. So everything that they've taken away comes back and is renewed. We want to make sure that they have the best life end to end, and having them end their life here where they're comfortable and where they've spent their whole life, I think is the best way for that to happen.
The transparency part of knowing where the meat came from that the box beef people get, it's impossible because they're doing 1,500 animals a day that go through this thing, and what's been sitting out in their little quote-unquote holding pen, when they go into there, they lose their tags and everything, so they actually lose their identity of where they came from. So that's probably the biggest thing, is that they talk about the transparency thing that we've been talking about, is box beef doesn't have any origin. It's just what I believe is available to offer. All the things that we talk about in the way of carbon footprint and mass production, and it's the new old, I guess would be a way to put it. And in my particular case, which we've trademarked, is the ranch to plate, and that's what it is.